for the best coverage of the Jazz, Utes, and Cougars is right here on The Zone. This is JJ and Alex, presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah, Jensen, thanks for being with us on the program. Got yourself a Monday Night Football game, but it's an extra added playoff bonus between the Rams and the Vikings. Jer picked you picked the Vikes, and I foolishly picked the Rams because all my other picks that were different from yours, that's what I'm noticing. If I stick to your picks, they're right. If I don't, isn't that what we've seen in the so far?
For full disclosure, earlier in 2024, I picked the Lions to miss the playoffs.
Yes, you did.
So don't forget.
Also picked Utah to go 12-0.
A blind squirrel does occasionally find a nut. I am an idiot.
We have so many of those clean too. We have those on record, a lot of them. So you're the one who's setting yourself up for it. All right.
I deserve it.
You come on. All right, so I just read an article that said Quinn Ewers' decision about whether or not to return to college up in the air. So they get beat up. I mean, they didn't look like the better team at all against Ohio State, right? Will Howard will continue the apology tour for Will Howard.
Yeah, how close was that game actually? On the scoreboard, it was close. Did it ever feel competitive? Did it ever feel in any moment that Texas was in it?
Texas is at the 1 yard line, first and goal, twice, by the way. 1 yard line.
Yes.
And we had this text thread between you, me, and Sly, right?
Yeah.
I've told you for as long as that we've done this show, I hate the pitch in football so much because. And the way that, look, if you're doing it, you can do a stretch play where you allow blocking to develop. I get it. But the pitch of the ball, it's so counterintuitive to me. When you pitch the ball backwards 6 yards to a guy to the short side of the field, no less.
That's the sin.
I can't stand it. And Ohio State blew it up, and then on the subsequent play, so then you're in a weird spot. Because I think that was it third or fourth down that the strip sack happened? I think, or the strip sack, right? There we go, strip sack. Captain Jack on his old college roommate, Quinn Ewers. I just am, I don't know when that was, but you got into desperation mode pretty quickly. You can't run the ball 1 yard, Texas. You are freaking Texas.
Well, you don't deserve to win. But
no.
You're freaking Texas against Ohio State. Ohio State's just better.
Right. So was it close? The answer was absolutely. It was 21-14 with 3.5 minutes left, and they got 2 pass interference calls in the end zone, which puts you once at the 2 yard line at first and goal, and then on the very next play, first and goal at the 1 yard line because of another pass interference in the end zone.
Right.
So
I get it was close on the scoreboard. Did you ever feel
No.
Texas had a chance?
No, I did see this today. And
it was tied in the third quarter. I get that. I just still felt like Ohio State was in complete control the whole way.
I did see a pretty cool stat. Did you see this? Ryan Day became the first college football coach in FBS history to go to the national championship game with a hand-drawn Sharpie marker beard. That is
the first.
That was the first. I saw that on X, and I was like, that is terrible. And yet at the same time,
it's a great day for all of you out there that have Sharpie-drawn beards.
Why is it so black?
You can do big things, too.
Why does it... Look, just get the...
I feel bad for all the marginalized Sharpie beard-drawn guys out there.
Just get the one that says touch of gray in it. It says it's built in to say this looks a little bit more like you're your age.
But, hey, Carlos Boozer got results. Ryan Day's getting results, too.
I think Carlos Boozer was the first player to use a stencil. That's what he was doing, is he would put like a piece of paper on here and then just...
And his was high gloss.
His was sprayed on and shiny.
That was not eggshell. That was high gloss.
No. Ryan Day, I guess he knows exactly what's going on. He knows what he has. He's like, I'm just going to go with it. I want this thing to be as jet black as it can get. All right? So I'm going to draw it on. Our program brought to you by G2G Bars All natural ingredients and no preservatives make the G2G bar perfect for anybody who needs that quick, tasty, nutritious boost. Let's get to the cut. Since we're already talking about the national championship game next week, let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. Trajan Wealth, all your local trusted financial needs. 801-899-7600 or their website, Trajan Wealth, which is just TRAJAN Wealth.com. Okay. Ohio State looking for their 6th national title. 24-14 win over Texas in the college football semifinal. Texas was on home soil at the Cotton Bowl, allegedly. But I'll tell you, it was just like you were saying, I don't feel like Texas was in this thing at all. And it's hard because what did we have Texas at all year long? We had them in the top 5 the entire season, right? And the only 2 losses that they had were the 2 biggest games they played. Georgia, right?
Georgia twice.
Once regular and another time in the SEC championship game. And nobody felt like, and by the way, Georgia's well, I'm not going to say they're bad, but out of all the teams that from the SEC who went to the college football playoff, they looked the least prepared and they looked the least ready. And I know that they were missing their starting quarterback, but usually that Georgia defense is pretty stout.
Where's that SEC depth?
Oh,
why didn't you have somebody ready to go at that position?
Why don't you have a 5-star guy, 3 deep on every place?
It's a sign of the times. This is the problem the SEC is now having is they're 1, 2, 3 deep. I mean, they could go 3 deep on quarterbacks or different positions that were key. That depth is now at other schools. So times have changed. The talent's starting to get spread out, and it's just going to get more and more like that.
It's like the monkey paw, right? It's like, hey, the SEC's not going to – you get your wish. The SEC's not in the college football championship. Notre Dame is. Sorry. That's the payment.
So we're going to take the SEC out, but you got to have Notre Dame in.
Yeah. And you know what? And I don't hate it. I don't like Notre Dame generally, but guys like Brian Kelly and Charlie Weiss, who made Notre Dame extra hateable.
Yeah.
You put in Marcus Freeman, and I don't hate that team as much.
That guy?
I know, just the amount of energy he brings.
You know where Marcus Freeman went to school?
Where'd he go?
Ohio State.
Perfect.
He played linebacker at Ohio State.
Perfect.
Isn't that crazy?
Yes. That's awesome. And Ryan Day, of course, played his college football at checks notes, Delaware State.
Was it Delaware or Delaware State?
I don't know which. Is it the Fighting? Is it the Hens? Which one's
that's the one in
the
Newark, Delaware, which I unfortunately have been to.
I was gonna say, yeah, you have enough experience up there in the Northeast.
Yeah. So
no, which one is it?
I don't know. I'm going to assume that it's the Delaware that's in Newark.
I don't know. I don't know which one. Let me see here.
No, he went to New Hampshire.
Oh, sorry.
You're way off.
Can I just say
Glad
this?
we cleared that up.
Can I just say this?
New Hampshire.
They're all the same.
What? Chip Kelly? Isn't Chip Kelly? Didn't he go?
Chip Kelly.
That's how those guys know each other, right?
He coached Ryan Day. He was like the offensive coordinator or something like that.
Okay.
At what was it? Vermont or New Hampshire?
New Hampshire. You already forgot. Dude, I didn't even know they played the game of football.
Look, you know what?
In New England.
It feels good. It feels good to get those states mixed up because they don't know which one's Utah or Colorado or Wyoming on the map either.
Did New Hampshire stop playing football?
Oh, let me see this. I don't know. No, they're still going strong. Are you kidding? He played quarterback there. Are they an NAIA school? No. They're FCS. Good for them. All right, so there you go. Are they NAIA?
Maybe they just get their butts kicked every fall by Maine.
Well, you mean the Bears?
Yes, the Bears.
I'm
got
sad
that one right.
I'm sad that I know that. All right. Ohio State and Notre Dame on paper. So don't look at the line or anything. I'm going to ask you. You make the line here for me. What is this over under and what is the line on this game?
Oh, I'm totally guessing. I do not know.
I know. That's why we're doing this game.
The over-under 49.5. The spread. How about Ohio State minus 5?
Let me see here because I'm finding differing things here. And you've been around football as long as I have and more, and you know that in an over-under on a game, unless it's got Washington State versus Texas Tech or something back in the early 2000s. It's going to be around there. Let me see.
Okay, I just looked it up.
What do you have?
So I was off by 4 on the
Is it
total.
close?
45.5 on the total.
Oh, they went under. It even went under that. I was hoping you was going to go 5 the other direction.
And Ohio State's an 8-point favorite. They're -8 against Notre Dame.
You know what that is? Vegas trying to get you to go after.
Oh, that's it. Well, you know that. Like
8
we
points?
all understand how this works.
Now I'm looking at a refreshed one. I've got 8.5 for Ohio State.
Okay, so the spread's moving.
8.5 going. Wow. Well, good for them. Will Howard, 24 of 33 for 289 yards, a touchdown and an interception. I know that he has all these weapons, but I'll tell you, they were ready for Jeremiah Smith. Texas knew the assignment.
He was not a factor.
They have one guy they got to cover, and you know what? Ohio State reacted accordingly too and said, "That's fine. We'll beat you with these other guys." And it was. Look, just like you would anticipate, they have a lot of talent, and it's not just because I think Will Howard is very pedestrian, and I know that sounds rude, but he's not going to be a high pick in the NFL draft ever. All right, he is a serviceable, does the job quarterback at Ohio State, and he's just surrounded by so many dadgum talented guys that they're able to cover up some of his misgivings. He was exposed against Michigan when he had the worst game of the season for Ohio State. Did you see? There was, you know, what's interesting is after the game, they were asking Jack Sawyer about that, kind of how they're playing and how they've put together this hot streak. And I just love it because these guys, it's automatic for them. He's like, when we lost that game in November, there was just a lot that we had to think about. And I loved that when we lost that game in November, and you just have to do the math and be like, because if anybody else hears that, you don't think to yourself, oh, what's he talking about? What game in November? It's only one game in November that matters for that team that you're that torn up about if you get the loss like that. But Will Howard is very serviceable. And guess what? On Notre Dame side of the football, you kind of get the same thing with Riley Leonard. They're not going to blow up the stat sheet.
It's not a guy that's going to launch the ball downfield 20 times in a game.
But Riley Leonard is tough to handle between the tackles because they call that quarterback draw all the time, those design quarterback runs all the time. And every team who faces Riley Leonard goes, yeah, but he won't be able to do that against us. And he continues to have that success. He's a big body. He's hard to take down. It's interesting that the college football playoff, JJ, does not have super strong quarterback play right now. Like, I say super strong, I mean they don't have these guys who are going to be top 5 in the.
Who are the best quarterbacks in the draft?
All guys.
Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart.
Yes.
Okay. None of the guys in this game are. I mean, will Riley Leonard play in the NFL? I don't know.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You just talked about Will Howard. Probably not.
Well, let me tell you what doesn't do well for him. A quarterback at Duke who runs well for how big he is and is hard and runs really well, is really fast, and is really smart. Daniel Jones was that exact guy 4 years ago, right? Yeah. Out of Duke, big, crazy numbers at the combine. Wow, look, he's a 4.4 guy. He's 6'5", 235.
I mean, Riley Leonard's numbers aren't like wow,
No, they're not.
6'4". Almost 220. I mean, big, strong kid, fast, obviously. Throwing the ball, he's been okay. 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. It's okay. QBR, 77.7, 15th. Obviously, his strength has been in the run game, but these are not stats that are going to blow you away. And yet, here they are. And I think that these teams, they don't need a quarterback that's going to go out there and be Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. They need a quarterback that's going to take care of the football and allow their strengths to shine. Both these teams will like to run the game, run the ball a lot. They both have very confident in how they play defense. They're very strong in the trenches. This is old school Midwestern football. This is not the SEC. This is not some like USC versus Texas matchup. This is old school Midwestern football we're going to watch in this championship game a week from tonight.
So I'm looking at the top quarterbacks. You ready for this? They have Jalen Milroe a little bit higher than I would imagine. They have Quinn Ewers pretty high.
There's only so many guys right now.
I know.
Right? And a lot of these guys are going to stay.
Yeah, so they go Shedeur Sanders 1. They have Cam Ward 2 on this one that I'm looking at. And then they have, I don't agree with this at all, but Quinn Ewers at 3, Jalen Milroe 4, Jackson Dart 5, Carson Beck 6. Sorry, he's going to Miami. Dylan Gabriel 7, Jalen Daniels out of Kansas is 9, Will Howard is 10, and number 11 is Riley Leonard. You have the 10th and 11th best quarterbacks in this next draft according to the odds makers, and 10th and 11th best quarterback puts you in what, 4th round? 3rd, 4th, 5th round?
Depends on the draft.
No, I know we've had
probably not. You're probably not getting drafted this year.
Wow.
Last year was a special draft, and how many we see go? Make 8 or 9?
Yeah.
And that was a special draft.
It was crazy. Yeah.
This draft's not special at the quarterback position. And that's why Carson Beck's going back to school at a different school. That's why Quinn Ewers is going to go back to school at a different school because they can make 7-figure salaries now in college football, and they don't have to leave for the NFL.
Bro, you know who the 14th?
Pretty good deal.
You know who the 14th best rated quarterback is in the NFL draft for this year?
Who?
KJ Jefferson.
Oh, my.
What as a linebacker? Like,
as a tight end?
What are they doing here?
That just further proves my point.
Jefferson has completed 59% of his passes for 1,000 yards and 7 touchdowns this season and 4 interceptions. Yeah, put him in the draft. Why not?
I mean, physically he's imposing, but the results aren't there.
19th on the list.
Got benched at UCF.
19th on the list. Cam Rising, Utah. Come on. Why would you put him behind KJ Jefferson? Stop it. All right.
What? We haven't heard from Cam.
Oh, yeah. What's his decision going to be? Oh, there is. That's right. You got the but that's basically to roll out your two coordinators and then Coach Witt. I'm sure he's going to have to take the Cam question, but you know what he's going to do now is, well, Cam and we've sat down and decided to mutually part ways. He's going to go play for Mike McCarthy, wherever Mike McCarthy ends up. Like, what? I do want to know. Like, what if you've got devastating injuries the last 3 years of your career, basically? What do you do? Do you just bank on the fact that, oh, yeah, I'm still an NFL guy, I'm going to go train hard? I don't know.
I think in the case of Cam, whether he comes back or not, the ultimate positive about that is he was able to make some money at the college level when he was able. And if he's physically not able to continue playing football, he made good in the last 2 years, and hopefully that'll help set him up for the future, which is great that, this is what should have been happening all along, is guys should have been able to make money in college football, giving up their bodies and playing the way they did. But, hopefully he comes back. I just don't think it's going to be with Utah. I just don't think that makes any sense. I think it's time for Utah to move on, and it looks like with Devin Dampier they have. I just don't see any reason for that to continue. I think that time is over.
Okay.
But we'll wait and see and hear. I'll be curious either way to find out what his decision is. He's one of the all-time great Utah quarterbacks.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we've got our NFL Blitz. Lots of NFL news and lots of NFL goings-on, including a Monday night matchup tonight and the last of the wild card weekend here. Enjoy it for all it's worth here. Last wild card game of 2024-2025. We'll be right back. More to go. 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back. It is your NFL Blitz. Alex Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen. Together we team up and become JJ and Alex every day. Right here on the KSL Sports Zone.
Radio team assembled!
I will say, boy, the Flyers, I don't know. You spent a couple years up there in Philly. And Philadelphia, generally, people... You tell me, where do the Flyers kind of sit in the importance of sports teams in the city of brotherly love here? So I'm watching this Flyers game right now. These sweaters are dope. They got the full black with the the Phillies logo, right? You got that.
Oh yeah, no.
And then they have the orange nameplates on the back. They're like kind of orange and black nameplates on the back. It looks really sharp.
I think obviously it depends on who's hot and who's not, but overall, if you're going to poll people, it's probably right behind the Eagles.
You think so? You think it'd be above the?
Hockey's a big deal. No, they love the Flyers, and the Flyers have had good years. They've been on tough times recently, but you'd look over the past, and obviously we talked about the 70s and the Broad Street Bombers, and then you had Eric Lindros who played there, and they had a good run with him, and they've had some really good hockey years there. So they've won cups. Not many teams in Philly have won.
So the Phillies are in 5th place then, behind the.
Oh no, I think the Phillies are probably 3rd and the Sixers 4th, if I'm being quite honest.
I was going to put. I was going to put the Philadelphia Union at.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. No, I think that's probably the pecking order if you're going to poll fans' interest there. But I think that can obviously change here and there depending on how teams are performing. The Phillies baseball, when they are contending for a World Series, that town is all about the Phillies. It's a great sports town, by the way. They love their teams. They'll boo them, but they still love them. I mean, they booed Santa Claus for crying out loud. They boo anybody.
They threw batteries at Michael Irvin when he was going off the field with a neck injury.
They'll throw batteries at toddlers. They don't care. It's rough there, man.
Bad people, but great sports fans.
They are great sports fans. It's a great sports town.
Well, I was just wondering. So we see this Philadelphia Flyers team. I just don't know where they land.
They're not good right now, so people probably aren't paying. But of course, the Sixers aren't good either.
No.
Everyone's about the Eagles right now, trust me.
Okay.
That's an Eagles town right now.
What do we have here? Oh, the NFL Blitz. Tell you what we got. Russell Wilson says he wants to stay a Pittsburgh Steeler. Well, that would be nice, yeah. That would be real nice. Now, the Steelers might want to keep him. Now, how much is he? Yeah, they don't
have to pay him.
They had to
the
pay
Broncos are paying him.
For how long? Because they're like 1.2. It's like 1.2 this year, and then like 1 point, and maybe 1.3 or 1.5 next year or something like that. I mean, he's gonna.
They don't owe Wilson any more money after the season,
okay.
But he does carry that $32 million dead cap hit.
So he's 36 years old. He says he wants to stay with the Steelers. Do you keep him on to coach up the old young buck?
Here's the problem.
Justin Fields?
Okay, he's a free agent. What is he willing to play for? This is a guy that's made...
Yeah, $180 million, maybe $200 million.
9 figures in his career. This guy thinks he's a Hall of Famer. This guy thinks he's special. He's not that anymore. So what kind of contract will he demand?
Ooh, this is a fun game. Career earnings for Russell Wilson. What is it?
$200 million?
$307 million.
I'm not even close.
I would not have guessed it. Ooh. Oh my gosh!
And the Broncos paid a good
Broncos
chunk of that.
$220 million of that.
That's crazy.
The Seahawks got out of Russell Wilson what the 49ers were hoping to get, which was a Super Bowl while he was still in that rookie contract. Pretty crazy. But yeah, his latest deal.
The Steelers aren't going to pay big money for him, and he's going to want big money because he's in his mind, I'm Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
But he's 36-year-old Russell Wilson, and he didn't play that well half this season. He had moments, and he didn't play all the games either. I think that Justin Fields is the quarterback of the future for the Steelers, and I think you just move on at this point.
Man, Russell Wilson, that extension that he signed with the Broncos, I hate to pour salt on the wounds here. 5-year, $242 million.
Probably the worst trade in Broncos history.
They got a Super Bowl out of him when his signing bonus was $619,000 and his average salary was $750 when he was playing for the. They paid him $3 million for 4 years to go to the NFC Championship game 3 times and win 1 Super Bowl.
And then they unloaded him at the perfect time.
All right. Anyway, I was just asking.
You're just trying to.
I was just seeing what the future of Russell Wilson looked like. All right. Let me see here. Oh, Mike Vrabel. Going to get the nod at his former stomping grounds of the Patriots.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if there's going to be somebody who knows the quote-unquote Patriot way, which may or may not just be the Bill Belichick way, It's Mike Vrabel. And by the way, he's had some success in the head coaching spot. And if you're going to be able, and now he did kind of overdo it and say the big draw was Drake May.
Yeah, I mean, the Patriots are in a good position to succeed.
Kind of talented, I guess, but I don't know if I'd be like,
Vrabel,
I want to hang my hat on Drake May's success.
Well, I think a lot of people are high on him. I think that there are better quarterbacks in this draft. I think he's down the list.
Yeah.
I'd even put him below Caleb Williams, even though, Caleb Williams, Drake May had similar results. But he's still alive. I think he's still going to be a good quarterback. So if you're the Patriots and you're Mike Vrabel, you got the young quarterback, you got a young roster, they got a lot of picks. I think that he's in a situation where his owner is going to be patient with him. He's probably got more trust because of his experience. I think it's the perfect situation for Mike Vrabel, and the fans already love him. So it's a good situation. I think it's a good hire.
I like it, mostly just because I think that he's a guy who he's going to get some success kind of really early on, especially. The shtick might get old. We talk about that a lot. Where
Well, I
it's
think
like,
it wore out in Tennessee, but there's patience in that franchise, and he's going to have even more patience because of he's got some equity with that fan base and with the owner as well.
Well, let's have. I want to have this discussion when we come back for our best and worst. It's going to be kind of in concert with the other best and worst topics. But I want to ask you a question about Coach Prime when we come back, and the possibility of him taking the Dallas job or whoever's name is
by the
thrown
way,
out there.
Mike McCarthy, not back. Mutually agreed to part ways.
Well, we made fun of it earlier in the show.
It was an HR release firing. McCarthy out with the Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys are looking for a new head coach.
Could Prime be back?
Ooh.
All right.
I think it's a perfect fit. We'll see.
From a marketing perspective.
And that's all that matters in Dallas. They don't care about winning.
Obviously not. Let's take a break. We'll come back. Before we do, though, right now you can call in. If you listen to DJ and PK in the mornings, you've, of course, every Monday morning get the Chevy Strong Play of the Week with a $20 Amazon gift card on the line. And your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealers behind this one. What was the DJ and PK Rocky Mountain Chevy dealers Play of the Weekend that they gave out this morning? Any clues, Alex? Anything you want to throw out there to sweeten the pot for somebody to call in right now?
It involves a top 25 AP team.
Okay. Smart, not naming a sport. I love it. So there you go. 801-575-ZONE. If you know what Alex is referring to, if you know what the Rocky Mountain Chevy Dealers Play of the Weekend that was given out today on DJ and PK's show, you can give yourself a little $20 Amazon gift card right there. 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. We'll come back. We've got our best and worst next and some Coach Prime talk right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
Wrapping up the hour with our picks for the best and worst moments on today's show. As JJ and Alex want to hear your best and worst of the day.
All right, so with Mike McCarthy out in Dallas. By the way, Best and Worst is brought to you by the Doug Smith family of dealerships. Dodge, Ram, Chevy, Subaru, Kia, and now Mitsubishi and American Fork. American Fork, Spanish Fork, and Linden is where you can find the Doug Smith family of dealerships. Before we get to Best and Worst, Mike McCarthy out in Texas, in Dallas, and maybe the most high-profile American sports coaching job in all of the land. Is that hastily overstating it, or?
Well, it's the most valuable franchise in pro sports in this country, right? So yes.
When you say it like that, though, too, and then you're like, Mike McCarthy's who you guys settled on,
right?
Come on.
Feels like they could do better, but Jerry is Jerry, so
he's out, and in an interesting twist, Mike McCarthy. Not just out, but also Deion's name getting floated. Now, Deion apparently, Coach Prime had apparently expressed some interest in the Las Vegas Raiders gig. The Raiders quickly quashed that. I guess they'll have no part in Coach Prime.
They are not interested in the Coach Prime show in Vegas.
It seems like the perfect place. I know that Dallas seems like more of the perfect place just because that's where he played. His name's is his name in the Ring of Honor up there? Or did he not play enough years there?
That's a good question.
Either way, first ballot Hall of Fame guy, insane amount of talent. He won a Super Bowl with them. This is one of the biggest names in all of sports right now. And so if he's available as the head coach for this Cowboys team, and they're able to lure Shedeur Sanders somehow in there. By the way, can we quit it with the whole Shiloh stuff too? I'm only going where Shedeur and Shiloh go. It's like, what are we talking about? Shiloh might actually have a shot to go to Dallas because he'll be like an unrestricted free agent, or he'll be that free agent signing who doesn't get drafted, right?
Yeah.
It'd be easier to get him.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
So if you could get Shedeur and you could get Shiloh as a priority, free agent.
The Cowboys have the 12th pick. Could they make a package deal to get up to 2, 3?
That's about where they need to be,
4?
right?
The Patriots have their quarterback. Do the Patriots need to pick 4th this year?
No, they don't.
If I'm the Patriots, I get on the horn and look, if the Cowboys drafted if the Cowboys hire Dion as their head coach,
yep,
and the plan is to get Shedeur with him,
Shedeur,
there are options to move up in the draft to make that happen. I believe that. I don't think that the Titans are interested in Shedeur. I think Cam Ward is probably the top quarterback they would have interest in. There's obviously some really good players
Who's
in
it
there.
to?
The Cleveland Browns. The Giants are third, who may also, they're probably interested in a quarterback too. So
You gotta get up to second or
can
third.
the Cowboys make a deal with the Titans, with the Browns? They'd have to pay a lot for it to move up from 12.
They're all, will you just take whatever's left of that contract of Deshaun Watson and we'll just
Oh, boy.
forget about this whole thing. Forget that any of this ever happened. That might be a good play for them.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But it's kind of interesting that now all of a sudden this Cowboys job is open. Does Jerry want to bring Coach Prime back to the NFL? Because if Coach Prime's interested in the Raiders job, why wouldn't he be interested in the Cowboys job? And why was the Raiders job the one he was interested in? The Raiders have the 6th pick in the draft.
Where's he live? I mean, he's in Dallas.
That's where he lives. He's centered in Dallas.
In my mind, I'm like, is he really? How does he not live in? And then I remember it's Prime. He doesn't really care about Colorado.
No.
Man, I love it here in this city. It's
Right.
Boulder, coach. I love it here, man. I got a cowboy hat. They let me pet Ralphie. I'm telling you, Coach Prime will be the Dallas Cowboys head coach.
It makes too much sense, right?
It's nuts. It's not a good move. I don't think. I don't know. I actually don't freaking know, JJ.
Where are they going? Who are the Cowboys going to hire? Who's that?
Who's that?
Are they going to get Ben Johnson from the Lions?
Yeah, isn't there
they already
17
blew the opportunity to interview him.
17-year-old out of
read that.
Detroit?
Jerry waiting over a week.
Nice job.
The window for a lot of these assistants that are in the playoffs right now to interview is gone. Ben Johnson had a bye week. Could have interviewed him. They waited until now.
Yeah.
Now he's busy preparing for an NFL playoff game. There were windows of opportunities to interview some coaches, and they waited too long.
If you tuned in over the weekend during I just so happen to have the TV on for this because I'm a desperate man for football during the weekends. And when they had the All-American game with all these top high school athletes playing, McKay Madsen, who was one of the highest rated linebackers out there in the whole country, All-American recruit McKay Madsen, no more of a BYU name that you could get than McKay Madsen. And he ended up committing to BYU. Who was on his list, you might be asking? He shirked the commitment to Oregon. And by the way, everybody had him going to Oregon.
Yeah.
Except for
McKay
Madsen, who was like, hey, man, I'm doing it. So he's out of Clovis North High School in California. He is likely going to be a mission kid for BYU. And they've got 19 commits in the class of 2025. Now, obviously, it's always different with the mission commitments and everything. But And there's a guy who, on the opposite side of the football, ran for 1,240 yards and 20 touchdowns his senior season, and that was like as an afterthought, as an offensive player. So
that's 2 straight years BYU has won a hat ceremony at the All-Star at the All-American game.
A hat ceremony.
Falatau Satawala out of Bountiful last year was in the same game and committed to BYU, and that was a big deal.
That's amazing.
Because everyone thought he was locked in at Utah, and so times are changing for BYU recruiting. They're getting guys that they wouldn't have got 5 years ago.
Yeah. All right, we'll take the break here. We'll come back. We got more to go right around the corner next hour, so just stay dialed in right here. It's 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.